record this. All right. So, well, again, Thana, thank you for taking time to hear more about Starfish and the way in which, in fact, as you can see here, a better way to pay and get paid. But it's actually much more than that, as I'll explain later. But I'm going to first of all start with a very short video that explains how this payment platform really is very, very beneficial for everybody. So, just going to play this now.
Stop me if you've heard this one. Ready?
Hi there. Would you like to save 10% on your purchase today and sign up for our in-store credit card?
Ugh. Chances are you've stopped me. What isn't stopping is annoying offers like this one and others sitting in your mailbox right now. Ever wonder why credit card companies are so persistent? Here's why. Last year alone, credit card companies made $175 billion off consumers just like you and me, with the nerve to pose as the good guy, wrapping their offers around huge promises of sign-up bonuses and 0% APR. For limited time only. And while it feels like they have our best interest in mind, it's really just the interest itself on their mind. Even for those of us disciplined enough to pay off our balances each month, the ease of use usually results in a much higher rate of spending. But is there a better way? Introducing the StarFish way, an online rewards platform that's truly for the consumer, even starting, dare we say, a consumer rebellion. One for the good guys like you and me. An opportunity for no interest, no extra spending, and much higher reward percentages that have many canning their card. Here's how it works. Just open up StarFish and simply make a deposit into your StarFish e-wallet, but only the money you budgeted or planned on spending that month on groceries, gas, restaurants, and other stuff. Then, when you're shopping at one of our merchants, you may have heard of some of them. Amazon, Walmart, Target, CVS, Kohl's,
Best Buy, Lowe's, Nike.
You get the point. There's a ton, over 500. All you have to do is check out using StarFish either in-store or online. Just find the merchant you're shopping at, enter the checkout total, tap Review and Pay, confirm the totals, and then tap Complete Purchase. That's it. Now just tap View Your Gift Card and tap to use. Present this barcode to scan or provide the gift card number and PIN and begin earning instant cash rewards. We like to call them perks. Up to 20% perks on a single purchase. Just slightly better than any credit card offer, and by the way, none of the debt-related drama. And it works just as simply online by entering the gift card number and PIN during your digital checkout. And as we like to say in the slightly corny voiceover world, there's more. Even if your favorite brand isn't on our platform, StarFish has you covered with our Visa prepaid debit cards. They carry no interest, there's no sneaky fees, and you'll even earn 2% back. So the same rewards as a credit card, with none of the risk, nope. Sheesh, what's next? StarFish works anywhere Visa is accepted?
Bingo.
Wait, hold up. Anywhere? Basically, yes. Think beyond shopping. Boring old payments like rent, repair bills, utilities, tuition, and so many others are now huge opportunities to pile up the perks. And those perks add up fast. Just make sure to check with these providers. Some rare exceptions may apply. And if that weren't enough, here's the secret sauce. The StarFish platform was actually designed to help you earn and learn. Meaning, now that you're potentially minimizing your spending and maximizing your rewards, we want to help maximize you and your earning potential. Tap the podcast button for exclusive episodes on financial literacy and success principles, taught in a fun, short, and an engaging way. In this sense, StarFish combines the perks that you earn with the wisdom you will learn for a maximum rate of
Oh boy.
Okay, there's that corny thing. Let's say it this way instead.
Got $140 cash back in 1 month.
Well over $400 or $500 in cash back.
Paid our bills with it.
Bought our plane tickets.
Our plane tickets.
Here.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
Just tap your phone. It's really that simple.
It's unbelievable.
Truly incredible.
Once you try it, you're gonna be blown away.
The best product ever created.
Is it time for you to can the card? Earn and learn with StarFish.
And now I'm just going to move over here. Right, show. Okay, so that is sort of a cute little video that explains very well what StarFish does for you. But I wanted to go into a little bit more detail with it. And can you see that all right, by the way, Lisa?
The life you've always wanted?
Yep, yeah, that's good. I just want to make sure we're on track here. Appreciate the feedback. Yeah, life that you've always wanted. In fact, it's probably the life that we all want. And essentially what we're talking about is wealth. But, wealth usually means for most people money. But From my perspective, I'm sure everybody would agree with me. What's really wealth is to, first of all, have excellent good health and vitality, and of course, positive thinking and attitude, and as well as a strong, uplifting belief and faith. In other words, we want to nourish and empower our body, mind, and spirit. And that's where Starfish comes into effect, because we also, of course, need money for security and enjoying life. And we want to do more than just covering our living expenses. We need more to really enjoy life to the maximum and have the freedom to be and do what we desire. In other words, we want to thrive and not just survive. Unfortunately, of course, we're faced with the fact that we want to be able to leverage our time and energy. But obviously, most people are just trading their time for money, either in a job, the definition for just over broke, or they may own their own business, but of course have to deal with all the headaches and pressure of having a business and employees. Certainly not the best way. And so we need a system that will generate passive residual income. Now, I throw this slide up because, of course, we all know perhaps about this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And although most people think of it as a book that's going to guide you or help you to make money, note, for example, specifically that the title is not Work Hard and Grow Rich. And what Napoleon discovered after interviewing many of the very wealthy, successful men of his time, he recognized it as what they were thinking. It was their attitude that made the difference. And so that's why we really focus in Starfish on really developing your mental attitude and helping you in that way. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But first of all, I want to mention briefly about the company. Now, when I get involved with companies, I usually try and certainly I want to always assess how valid they are and how well established they are. And Life is certainly very well established. They essentially established their company back in 2011. And since that time, they've really achieved their goals in really providing world-class education material for personal growth, financial literacy, leadership, and of course, wealth generation. They, in fact, in the first 12 years of their existence, generated over $1 billion in sales. So they also developed a very large, engaged global audience, a membership of tens of thousands of members. So they're very well established, very solid, and carry no debt. And in fact, the people that own it are the members themselves. And I'll mention about this a little bit later. In terms of looking at a company, you want to look at the people who are leading it. And of course, if you're going to take advice in terms of how to live your life and be successful, you want to have it from people that have been successful themselves. So the leadership with Life has proven success. Two individuals in particular, Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady, they were actually nominated or identified as among the top 50 worldwide business leaders by Inc. magazine, and they are still very actively involved in providing training. The leadership that actually walks the talk too, because they both have been bestsellers, New York Times bestseller authors of several books, one in particular launching a leadership revolution, ranked #1 in the New York Best Times selling list. And Orrin, in fact, is now essentially sort of retired because he has made millions of dollars in his efforts in business, but he donates 100% of his income to charity, and he also has created a 300 plus Bitcoin trust dedicated to the challenging financial system. And we refer to this as the consumer revolution. And it's really what we are involved in doing. This is the theme behind Life in Starfish. We build communities of people who learn wealth thinking and pursue their dreams as a result of what they have available in Starfish. So Life goals specifically are to have memberships grow to over 1 million people. And they want to teach them personal growth, financial literacy, leadership, and wealth generation to attain their freedom. And it will enable them also to eliminate the usury tax slavery of credit card system and join what we call now our consumer revolution. Now, the credit card profit, as you heard, is 175. Actually, it's much more than that last year. That number is a couple of years old. But I also have my dreams and my goals, and it's $100,000. Now, you may think that may be the amount of money I want to make, but actually it's a little different than what you think. My 100,000 goal is really to help 100 plus people collectively this year save over $100,000 on their existing living expenses, and that their expenses that they're already paying every single day. So that's what I want to do in terms of help a lot of people reduce their cost of living. So I show this because we all want a very good quality meal to sustain us. And you may notice in this picture that I'm starting here with the dessert. And I'll get to the main course in a minute, but symbolically, that dessert represents starfish. And we have our community, they're making use of the StarFish platform, which is basically a dessert, as far as I'm concerned. It's not earning you money, but it's certainly going to save you money. So essentially what happens with starfish is you are able to really fight inflation and avoid all the debt risk by making use of the starfish payment program. There are many, many organizations that have joined us. These are merchants, gives you over 650 of them, in fact, in the US and Canada. And you may recognize some of these names, of course. I go to them. Everybody seems to go to them. And you will receive from the merchant anywhere from 2 to 20% in terms of rebate that goes right back into your wallet as soon as you make a purchase at any of these companies. So there's significant savings, obviously, to be available when you just through your living expenses, whether it's food or gas or travel, hotels, etc. I put up here insurance because I just paid my boat insurance using the Starfish platform and got back, 3% fee rebate on that total amount of hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So here's a little bit of an explanation of the difference, what we're trying to offer. Credit cards, of course, there's debt associated with it. There's compound interest. Gosh, you don't pay your credit card, they're going to start charging you like 24%. And it's compounding, of course. And then there are fees associated both for us as well as for the merchants. And that's why the merchants are actually joining us, because they have great difficulties dealing with the exorbitant swipe fees and fees associated with having a credit card available for a payment. And when we approached these companies, they were all for giving a direct rebate to our members when they buy goods at their particular store, because it's cheaper than them dealing with a credit card. So the advantages are pretty clear that Starfish has these things to offer. We avoid the slippery slope into debt when a lot of people get into it, of course, overusing their credit card. Now, significant savings, of course, we already mentioned 650 companies that give you up to 20% back, and that's put immediately back in your wallet with all your purchases. Now, the average household receives about $1,000 to $2,000 per year just using the Starfish platform. Now, businesses, on the other hand, actually make use of this and save even much more than $1,000 per month in some cases and more, because they are able to use the Starfish platform to buy their supplies and materials that are involved in their various projects. So the reason I show this multiple times, you can use the Starfish is like having unlimited number of desserts. And the other thing is that you and your family can also use the Starfish platform. So it doesn't mean that each individual has to have their own access to the system. You pay for it once, and then you have it available to anybody in your home. Now, I want to just diverge a little bit here, because a lot of people don't realize the cost really associated with achieving the dreams, the average dreams of Americans. And as you can see by these numbers of the retirement, owning a home, owning various cars throughout your life, and educating your children, healthcare, etc., is very, very expensive, much more than people realize, in fact. In fact, the total average is you'd have to earn over $5 million during your working years in order to really sustain yourself in a comfortable way on retirement. So there's a big gap, because the average income with a bachelor's degree of a person and his wife and so forth really falls short. And this is according to the stats from the government. They're only making about $2.8 million in the course of their working lifespan. And there's a big gap here, of course. The other thing about this is that when you first start off working with someone else, you're going to get pay raises and so forth. But then you get to a certain point where that sort of flatlines. It doesn't really even keep up with inflation. And then, of course, when you retire at 65, typically you have a significant drop in your income, and therefore you really have a great deal of difficulty really maintaining the kind of lifestyle you'd like to have. So, how do we achieve that North American dream? Costing 5.4. Well, we do that because we now have a platform that will bring you not only savings, but what we call wealth thinking. And that means that, of course, we basically provide you opportunity to save money on living, but we also give you the opportunity of generating income, and it's essential in order for you to achieve these objectives. So that's why I use the picture of the main course of the meal. That is what will nourish you. Desserts are nice, but of course they aren't going to nourish you and sustain you. But the platform, the StarFish platform, does have enormous benefits because we are teaching wealth thinking. In fact, there are hundreds and hundreds of audios and ebooks and so forth and videos for you to access at any time in order to hear from the experts, from the people who have been successful. And there are different categories. You have life training, finances, success, professional development, people skills, leadership, and it goes on with parenting and interpersonal relationships. So there's a broad spectrum of types of training materials that are available with you. And they're available, of course, in English, French, and Spanish. So StarFish provides more than training. It actually provides income generation system. So more than income generation. Now, we also emphasize the fact that you've got to have a system that will allow you to leverage your time, and building a team building is what we're all about. You're not, in other words, you're not in business but for yourself, but you're not by yourself. And so that's where our approach comes into play. See, when you decide to start sharing the StarFish opportunity and platform with other people, they become part of your team, and therefore you'll receive a certain percentage and so forth of the various services and products that they begin to purchase with the StarFish platform. And of course, it begins to grow. But what happens, of course, other people in your team above you, so to speak, are going to be adding other people to your team. So your team will grow. And this is what we talk about in terms of leveraging. You have to have a system where you're not just doing all the work. You're actually joining a team that's helping you achieve that success over and over again. And as your team begins to build, you really begin to accumulate some very, very healthy income levels. So enrollment here, you can save up to 20% on all your living expenses. Again, over 650 businesses are going to give you an immediate cashback. You buy it for yourself, but as I mentioned, you and your entire family can use it for free. And the options are two options. One is a basic membership, and the other is the Royal. Now, the basic membership is saving on your living expenses. But with this particular option, you're going to receive only about up to 10% rebates immediately on your living expenses. And you'll still have access to some of the training materials, about 172 audio trainings from world-class business leaders. But most people decide to go on the Royal, especially if they're going to begin to share it with other people, because you get much more savings. You get actually up to 20%. There are essentially, put it in numbers, 1,029 additional rebate percentages that you'll receive with the Royal compared to the basic, an average 44% increase in rebates. So essentially, just through the rebates alone, you're paying for your membership. And incredible rebates cover the cost of your subscription. So Royal StarFish, have access to 172 audios as you do with the basic, but now it increases significantly to hundreds and hundreds of books and ebooks and audios. Now, the Royal membership income also is there for your benefit. You'll earn additional income by sharing the StarFish and helping others save money. And of course, you're learning about wealth generation and wealth thinking. Plus, they encourage you to sort of begin to get the training in place. They're going to give you $1 back per audio you listen to, up to 30 in your first month. And it just motivates people to obviously get some of their money back, but also to get a taste of what's available with these excellent trainings. Now, essentially what we're doing is we have also another optional product available. It's called the Life Accelerator, and it does provide a lot more information about literacy, leadership, and leverage. It's going to fast track you to success. And of course, the webinars are expanding to 3 key areas, and there are leadership development webinar library. It's a huge library of additional information, but this is optional at the beginning. You can always, acquire it later on, but we do encourage people to do that because there is a significant savings when you first join. To save, instead of $105 for the Life Accelerator, it's now only $50 US or 69 Canadian. And this is where where the facts are about the actual cost. Now, the Royal Starfish rebate fee is $60 or $75 Canadian. The membership fee is $29, both for Canadian or US. And then the Life Accelerator, again, optional, is $50. So you have basically an initial startup fee of $139 US or $173. Plus, on a monthly basis, when you get the Royal Starfish membership option, where you'll receive far higher rebates, is going to be $60 or 75 Canadian. So with that, I'll just mention again that I've got a goal here. I would love to have you join us in saving money immediately on your living expenses, and join the consumer revolution and begin to take full advantage of the Starfish opportunity. So we will stop that now, and we'll just hold on 1 second.